Hello everybody, John here, and today on To The Garage I'm going to use the cheapest readily available in the UK headlight restoration kit to sort out the headlights on my Nissan Elgrand. Hi everyone, particularly those new to the channel. If you've not been here before, then we do all sorts of how-tos, automotive repairs, mods and reviews on my small but eclectic fleet of vehicles and on others as well. I am particularly into the Jaguar XK8, so please consider subscribing and maybe click the bell icon because it helps the channel out, costs you nothing. Today I'm going to do a headlight restoration. Now I've done one of these before and just used bits and pieces I've got lying around in my garage, but I'm aware that not everyone's as confident as me and would much prefer to have a kit given to them with everything there and all the instructions. So what we're going to do today is take on these very faded and sun damaged headlights that I have on my 2005 Nissan Elgrand FG called Ellie, and we're going to restore them, and we're going to do it the cheapest, easiest way possible. So hopefully this shows up well on film. The lenses have become very cloudy and quite yellow. There is an area at the bottom of this lamp which is not so yellow, so I'm going to transfer you down there. Start to see maybe a difference in colour. It's always hard to see what the camera's doing, particularly in strong sunlight like we're in today. And what are we going to use to do that? Well, purposely come out of my garage so nobody thinks I'm popping in and taking stuff from my drawers, so you know exactly what I'm using. I'll use nothing more. I've got some rag, I've got some masking tape, I've got a cordless drill. In fairness, if the battery dies on this I might swap it for another one, but I don't think that's cheating. I've got a squirty bottle, just literally a bottle you can put liquids in. I've got some water. I've got my magic seat, which just because my legs are old, and I've got the Holts Headlight Restoration Kit. Why did I choose this? Well, I was searching through Amazon looking for a kit to use for this. As I said, I want to show how easy it is. I wanted something that was really easy for people to get a hold of. This logo caught my eye because I do trust most of what Auto Express do. They seem to do some very good testing. And I thought, right, let's give this a go. And it just turned out it was the cheapest kit on offer. The instructions are on the side. And essentially the executive summary is: wash your headlights, mask around them, attach a spindle adapter to your drill, and you put some P800, that's rough, sandpaper on it. At low speed, wet sand the headlight. Work up through the various grades of paper till you get to P3000, that's very fine. Continually rinse. Use the polishing head that comes with this and the polish included to ensure all the sanding marks are removed. Rinse and dry, and then spray a light coating of sealer over the headlight and buff until clear. That's it. So literally that is everything I will use. If I'm wrong and I have to go fetch something from the garage, I will let you know, and I will give you the true elapsed time for all of this, despite editing, so you don't get bored. Okay, so I'm going to show you the time. 22 minutes past 1. Just going to rip some cloth. I collect old bed sheets and towels and anything else that gets thrown away. I'm going to start by just cleaning the headlight. When the lamps are wet, they always look clearer, and there is a trick that you can use, and I'm afraid some dealers use. If they've got really faded headlights on a car, they spray them with WD-40, and the WD-40 stays wet because it's an oil for a long time and makes the lamps look a lot clearer. As soon as they dry out, or somebody washes it, gets rid of the WD-40, you can see the reality again. So a little unscrupulous, but if it looks like, oh, he's fixed them already, that's because they're wet. Just going to put some masking tape anywhere that I might accidentally sand, but I don't want to. So the chrome on my grill has got to be just masked off. This is quite nice masking tape, it's Scotch 3M, but for this task it really doesn't matter. You're not masking for painting, so cheap as chips would be fine. Now we've got our kit. There's a microfiber cloth. Pop that up on the bonnet. There is a pad, Velcro face for attaching your sanding discs to. 800 grit pads. I've got two 1500 grit pads, and I've got two 3000 grit pads. 3000 grit doesn't even feel like it's an abrasive. There's our Velcro pad. Just screw that arbor into it. Because we're going to turn clockwise, you don't even need to worry about tightening it because it'll tighten itself. Popping it into my cordless drill. I've only picked this particular cordless drill because I've got a side arm for it, and it just means I can keep it steadier and control it a little bit more. And we're going to pop the 800 grit pad on there, and I'm just going to let you know that it is 1:30. So time has elapsed already. I am now just going to stop because I'm going to go and put some sunscreen on my arms and get a glass of water, and then I'll be straight back. I'm back. What I'm going to do is pop some water in my squirty bottle, which will make it more convenient to splash water around. And we're going to get that going. Let's wet the whole thing. Now the headlights on my car are particularly large, so this should really be the worst case scenario in terms of how long things take to do. We shall see. I'm going to start around this side and finish off around there. I'll have to reposition myself. The time, for those who are interested, is now 22:02. What we're actually doing here is we're trying to remove the previous UV coating, which is now failed and yellowed. and get through to the plastic itself and reveal a slightly new surface. Not really applying much in the way of pressure. You can see where you've been because there's a milky residue coming off. Decided to use the pad manually again just to finish off because my headlights are so shaped. You can't really see it on film, but from here to here sticks out. It's like a bulge, and so you don't really get everywhere. So I'm going to go over it by hand just to make sure I've covered the whole thing. Gotta say, this sandpaper is holding up rather well. This is the original pad. It's not broken up. I did have half a thought that being a cheaper kit, the sandpaper would be awful and I'd have to supplement it with some stuff that I've got in the garage, but no, so far, so good. Let's get you right in there so you can see what's going on. So I sanded off the lens. All the white you can see is the debris, the material that's come off the lens. Some of it will be lens, most of it will be the coating, and we're just going to wash that down. And hopefully what you can see is, despite it being wet, it's now got a sort of evenly opaque colour. It's because I've now got an even set of scratches all over it, rather than some scratches in some places, not in others. And we've removed most, if not all, of the UV coating, which had broken down and started to go quite yellow. There's definitely some crazing on the inside of the lenses. Again, heat damage. I'm not going to be able to resolve that. So I am going to the garage, but just to replace my water. So we're now at the 1000 grit. So it is one disc per headlight of each of the pads, each of the sandpapers. Re-wet the headlamp. Keeping this wet on a hot day is the biggest challenge, I think. Quite interesting, what's coming off on the pad is little hairs, which I'm guessing are the edges of the scratches I've created, being shaved off. And like last time, this has survived quite well. Gonna do some more by hand now because this is so lumpy. Okay, it's now nearly 2:20, but I've had an enforced break, and that's because the battery ran out of the camera, so that's in the house being charged up. I'm just carrying on with the phone because there's two things I wanted to share with you. One is, at this stage, so we've done the first two lots of sanding, you don't get rid of, that shows it, some of these look like scratches, this silvery line here, I'm catching it in the sun just right, they're on the inside of the lens, so they're going nowhere. But the other thing I wanted to share was, yeah, it's still cloudy, but look at the colour difference. And that is the UV coating gone on the left-hand lens as you're looking at it. And that's what's so heavily discoloured and gives this really old, boring, dull look compared to a silver, newer vehicle look. So yeah, it's very cloudy, but we'll resolve that. The difference in colour is night and day. So although my camera's charging, I'm going to do another little bit. I'm going to switch now to the 1300 grit and do the next coat. Nothing different, exactly the same. It'll be on the drill, followed by hand. Now that the headlight has thoroughly dried out, it does look a little more milky. So I've got the Renovator headlight abrasive polish, put about that much on the foam pad, and now we'll be hitting it with that. It's just mush that around so it doesn't splatter everywhere. There you go. It is now 3 o'clock. Less than perfect, but I'm very happy with that for the effort that's gone in and for the money that's gone in. So let's look at the final step. Now a lot of these kits include some sort of lacquer that I would say was like a paint. This is not one of those. Headlight sealer, use after polishing to remove sanding marks. Rinse and dry headlight before application. So this is going to be more like a dressing to make it look even better and give it a bit of UV coating, but I fear it probably won't endure quite as well as a hard lacquer, but will be significantly easier to use. It says spray a light coating, very light coating of headlight sealer over the headlights and buff until clear. Occasional reapplication of sealer may be required. So it's just a case of giving that another clean up. Make sure I've got all of the rubbish off it. And then squirt it over. And then because it can buff off, tells you that I don't really need to mask the car or anything. It's not a paint. So we're going to be rubbing it in rather than letting it set. Yeah, so this is the equivalent of the WD-40 trick, but over the top of at least a pretty clear lamp. Just going to give that a second dousing. Make sure I've got everything. I think if you imagine this as wax in your lamp, you're not far off. Well, I don't think we could need a much more night and day example, do you? And the time is 3:05. So we've gone from this yellowed, hazy, starting to affect headlamp performance, to this, which by comparison actually looks new. I'm very happy. Now if I get you close in, I want you to see it is not perfect. Probably as I move the camera is best. You can see little crazings, scratches. Most of that is inside the lamp, because trouble with transparent things, light gets through and affects all of it. But what a difference. Just check. So what have I learnt? Cheap kit did the job really well. I'm super impressed with the quality of the sandpaper with the wet and dry used in it. I thought that would dissolve and be reason that the whole thing was cheap. I think, to be fair, most people are going to have some lumps and bumps in their headlights, so maybe including this little sanding block with it would have been good for hand sanding. The polishing mop works really well. The headlight polish worked really well. The protector sealer, I can only comment that it did a good job today. How much endurance it's got, I really can't tell you. I suspect less than a hard lacquer, but then again, so easy. And if I've got a top tip is, cover your car in a sheet. So I shall have to wash Ellie now. But very happy, and we'll happily do another job on the other headlamp tomorrow.
If you're enjoying our channel, then don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell icon so you get notifications of new videos. And please give us a thumbs up or thumbs down, and you can share the videos. And below the video is always the area where you can comment and get involved with the chat.